and maybe just to get into like some of the nitty gritty of this, maybe some of the feeling of it, like when we start to the energy starts to open up and people start to go into places of samadhi where our thinking stops and we can't control anything. There's no controlling. The the thoughts start to you become penetrated by the energy and the thoughts start to cease. Um, this process is not something you can't do anything at that, and that's scary. And so you're kind of in this you kind of feel penetrated and that you have to decide, am I going to allow this to happen, or am I gonna like um keep my shit together and be like really functional right now? And I think if you can, letting that completely penetrate us, letting that completely take over. Um, that changes it changes things, and it changes the whole deal over time, and that what comes out of that is there is a death in that. There's a death of how we function, and then there's a rebirth of something that's different that comes out of that. And it's I would say that's a process and that it's totally worth it. And there are people that are, they get into practice and then they get really scared because they don't want to let go of that way that they function, the way that they control. And and people get really, really good at that. And as the nitty-gritty happens and we're penetrated by this and our mind starts to open and change, that's really scary. And and then something beautiful comes out of that that's totally, again, totally worth it. So so anyway, that's my experience, just to say, is that at a certain point people kind of go, well, I've tried this. I've tried doing it this way. I'm going to let it happen, and I'm going to let this process take hold. And 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 then they change, and then there's a really different, interesting type of functioning that comes out of that, which is incredibly beautiful, I think. Um, Tough to talk about all this, but it's kind of the for especially a certain animal, that's the how it feels, that's how it works. So whatever we thought, like, well, I'll be kind of open, but then I'll actually like keep my hand on the, on the steering wheel. I'll keep control. That starts to not work. And our system kind of has a little bit of it has a struggle with that. And then many of us have to go at some point, I don't know where this is going, but I have to let it, I'm going to choose to let that happen, let that take over and let that uh, penetrate me. And then their functioning, it changes. And that's the best. And then we spend a long time like letting that just take over everything. And then we see, oh, I'm in the way there. I'm in the way there. I'm in the way there. And the process then cleans house, and it shows us where I'm in the way, and I've got to get out of the way of that. So then it's a long process of letting that um, to be able to really live from that place all the time. It's a big process. Um, Many of us, there's not really a big choice with that. In many ways, like I think Brian was saying, like, and sometimes it the system just, it has to, this really just has to happen. And then we, so in that way, we don't have a lot of choice in that for many of us.